Doctors examined Jack LaLanne throughout his life. They poked, they prodded, they measured, they ran tests, blood panels, heart scans, lung function, bone density, flexibility assessments, strength tests. But they missed something. They missed the most important thing. They never understood his core. They saw a 96-year-old man with a midsection that looked carved from stone. They saw abdominal definition that would shame most 30-year-olds. They measured his waist. They noted his posture. But they never understood how he built it. Because Jack LaLanne's core secret wasn't visible. It wasn't an exercise you could watch and copy. It was internal. It was invisible. It worked muscles that most people don't even know exist. Doctors didn't know about this exercise. Most fitness experts still don't. But today, you're going to learn exactly what Jack did. The technique he practiced every single day for over 70 years. The exercise that gave him a bulletproof midsection, perfect posture, and a waist that never expanded with age. This is the core exercise doctors didn't know about. If you're committed to building real core strength, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. We're documenting every aspect of Jack LaLanne's proven methods, and the core protocol we're covering today connects directly to the breathing techniques from our previous video. Why traditional ab exercises fail. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Most ab exercises don't work. Not the way people think they work. Crunches, sit-ups, leg raises, planks. These exercises train the visible abdominal muscles. The rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscles. They make those muscles stronger. They might make them more defined, if body fat is low enough. But they miss the foundation. They miss the deep core. They miss the muscles that actually create a tight, controlled midsection. They miss the muscles that protect your spine. They miss the muscles that determine your waist measurement. Jack understood this intuitively. He watched people do hundreds of sit-ups and still have protruding bellies. He saw bodybuilders with visible abs but distended stomachs. He saw athletes with strong rectus abdominis but weak, deep cores. The problem isn't effort. The problem is targeting the wrong muscles. Think about a house. The rectus abdominis is like the exterior siding. It's visible, it looks nice, but it doesn't hold the house up. The deep core muscles are like the foundation and frame. They're invisible from outside, but they determine whether the structure stands or falls. Traditional ab exercises build the siding. Jack's exercise built the foundation. The transverse abdominis, your hidden muscle. Deep beneath your six-pack muscles lies a muscle most people have never heard of. The transverse abdominis. This is Jack's secret. The transverse abdominis wraps around your entire midsection like a natural weight belt. It runs horizontally, connecting your ribcage to your pelvis. When it contracts, it pulls your belly button toward your spine. It compresses your entire abdominal cavity. This muscle does things the rectus abdominis cannot do. It creates intra-abdominal pressure that protects your spine. It holds your organs in place. It determines how flat or protruding your stomach appears. It controls your waist measurement independent of body fat. Here's the key insight. You can have strong six-pack muscles and a weak transverse abdominis. The result is a distended belly. Your rectus abdominis can be visible through the skin, while your transverse abdominis is so weak that your organs push outward. Conversely, you can have a strong transverse abdominis that pulls everything inward, creating a tight, flat midsection even without visible six-pack definition. Jack trained his transverse abdominis obsessively. This is why his stomach was flat and tight at 96. Not because he had low body fat, though he did, but because his internal corset was so strong that it held everything in place. Doctors measured his waist circumference. They noted it was remarkably small for his frame, but they didn't understand why. They attributed it to diet or genetics. They missed that it was trained. They missed that the transverse abdominis can be developed just like any other muscle. Jack's discovery of the vacuum technique. Jack didn't invent the stomach vacuum, but he perfected it. The technique has ancient roots. Yogis practiced it for thousands of years. They called it Uddiyana Bandha. It was part of breath control and internal purification practices. Old-time strongmen in the early 20th century used it to create the classic V-taper physique. Jack discovered the vacuum technique in the 1930s. He was young, experimenting with every exercise he could find. He read about the old strongmen. He studied yoga texts. He noticed that the men with the most impressive physiques all practiced some form of abdominal drawing in. He began practicing daily. Within weeks, he noticed changes. His waist pulled in, his posture improved, his lower back felt stronger, his breathing deepened. Everything connected. Over the next 70 years, Jack refined his approach. He developed progressions from easy to advanced. He integrated the vacuum with breathing. He combined it with other core exercises. He created a complete system. By the time doctors were examining him in his 80s and 90s, his transverse abdominis was extraordinarily developed. But they had no test for it. They had no measurement. They could see the result but not understand the cause. The exact abdominal vacuum technique, step by step. Here is the exact technique Jack practiced. Follow these instructions precisely. Starting position. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart. Place your hands on your hips. Stand tall with good posture. Chest lifted, shoulders back. This is your starting position. Step 1. Full exhale. Breathe out completely. Push every bit of air from your lungs. Your diaphragm rises. Your belly naturally draws inward slightly. This exhale is crucial. You cannot perform a proper vacuum with air in your lungs. Step 2. False inhale. This is the key movement. Without actually taking in air, perform the motion of inhaling. Expand your chest as if breathing in deeply, but keep your throat closed. No air enters. This creates negative pressure in your chest cavity that pulls your diaphragm upward dramatically. Step 3. Draw in. As your diaphragm rises from the false inhale, actively pull your belly button toward your spine. Imagine trying to touch your belly button to your backbone. Your stomach should hollow dramatically. Your waist should visibly narrow. You'll see your ribcage prominently. Step 4. Hold. Maintain this position for 10 to 30 seconds. Stay relaxed everywhere except your transverse abdominis. Don't strain your face. Don't tense your shoulders. Just hold the vacuum with the deep abdominal muscles. Step 5. Release and breathe. Relax the contraction. Let your belly return to normal. Take several normal breaths. Rest for 15 to 30 seconds. Repeat. Perform 5 to 10 repetitions per session. That's the basic technique. Simple to describe. Challenging to master. Most people feel nothing the first few attempts because their transverse abdominis is so weak and disconnected that they can't activate it consciously. Be patient. The mind-muscle connection develops over days and weeks. Keep practicing. Eventually, you'll feel the deep contraction. You'll see your stomach hollow dramatically. You'll know you've found it. Before we go deeper into the progressions, I want to engage with you directly. Try the vacuum right now. Stand up. Follow the steps. See how long you can hold. Drop your hold time in the comments. I want to know where you're starting so you can track your progress. Vacuum progression, beginner to advanced. Jack developed a systematic progression. Each stage builds on the previous one. Stage 1, supine vacuum, weeks 1 to 2. Lie on your back with knees bent. This is the easiest position because gravity helps pull your organs toward your spine. Perform the vacuum technique lying down. Hold for 10 to 15 seconds. Perform 10 repetitions. Practice twice daily. Success at this stage means you can consistently hold a vacuum for 15 seconds while lying down, with visible hollowing of your stomach. Stage 2, quadruped vacuum, weeks 3 to 4. Position yourself on hands and knees. This is harder because gravity now pulls your organs toward the floor. You must contract harder to create the vacuum. Perform the technique on all fours. Hold for 10 to 15 seconds. Perform 8 repetitions. Practice twice daily. Success means consistent 15-second holds with visible stomach hollowing despite gravity working against you. Stage 3, seated vacuum, weeks 5 to 6. Sit upright on a chair or bench with no back support. Feet flat on floor. This position challenges your ability to maintain the vacuum while also maintaining posture. Perform the technique seated, hold for 15 to 20 seconds. Perform 8 repetitions, practice twice daily. Success means 20-second holds while maintaining perfect upright posture. Stage 4, standing vacuum, weeks 7 to 8. Return to standing position. Now that you've built the foundation, standing becomes more effective. Hands on hips, perfect posture. Perform the technique standing, hold for 20 to 30 seconds. Perform 8 to 10 repetitions, practice twice daily. Success means 30-second holds with dramatic visible hollowing. Stage 5, functional vacuum, weeks 9 plus. Begin integrating the vacuum into movement and daily life. Practice holding a partial vacuum while walking. Practice activating during everyday activities. Practice during other exercises. The goal is making transverse abdominis engagement automatic. Success means you can activate your deep core at will during any activity without thinking about the full vacuum technique. Jack reached the point where his transverse abdominis was partially engaged constantly. His core was always on to some degree. This is the ultimate goal, the hollow body connection. The stomach vacuum trains the transverse abdominis in isolation, but Jack didn't stop there. He connected it to full body core training through hollow body work. Hollow body position is fundamental to gymnastics. Lie on your back. Press your lower back into the floor by engaging your core. Extend your arms overhead, extend your legs straight. Lift your shoulders and feet slightly off the ground. Your body forms a slight curve, like a banana or a rocker. This position requires your entire core to work together. Transverse abdominis, rectus abdominis, obliques, hip flexors, lower back stabilizers. Everything engaged simultaneously. Jack practiced hollow body holds daily. He started with knees bent and arms at his sides for beginners. Progressively, he straightened his legs and extended his arms overhead. Eventually, he could hold a perfect hollow body for 60 seconds or longer. The hollow body connects the isolated vacuum strength to functional full-body core control. It's the bridge between internal exercise and athletic performance. Practice hollow body after your vacuum work. Start with 20-second holds. Build to 60 seconds. Ensure your lower back stays pressed to the floor throughout. If your back arches, you've lost the position. How core training connects to breathing. In the previous video, we covered Jack's breathing protocol for lung capacity. The core work we're discussing today connects directly to that breathing training. The diaphragm and transverse abdominis work together. When you inhale, your diaphragm descends and your belly expands. When you exhale, your diaphragm rises and your transverse abdominis can engage to push air out and stabilize your core. Jack practiced coordinating these functions. During exhale-focused breathing, he engaged his transverse abdominis. During core exercises, he breathed in specific patterns that enhanced the training effect. The stomach vacuum itself is a breathing exercise. You cannot perform it without breath manipulation. The false inhale that pulls the diaphragm upward is a respiratory technique. The hold happens with empty lungs. The release coordinates with breathing resumption. This connection explains why Jack's breathing and core training supported each other. Strong breathing muscles enabled stronger vacuum holds. Strong vacuum practice improved breath control. The systems reinforced each other. If you haven't watched the previous video on Jack's breathing technique, I recommend doing so after this video. The two protocols work together synergistically. Practicing both creates results greater than either alone. Jack's complete daily core routine, 15 minutes. Here is the exact daily core routine Jack practiced. 15 minutes total. Minutes 1 to 3, warm-up breathing. 3 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing. Lying on your back, practice belly breathing. This warms up the diaphragm and prepares the core muscles for work. 10 deep breaths, then transition to the next phase. Minutes 4 to 7, stomach vacuum practice. 4 minutes of vacuum training. Perform 10 repetitions of your current progression level. If you're at stage 4, perform 10 standing vacuums with 20 to 30-second holds. Rest 15 seconds between holds. Focus on quality contraction. Minutes 8 to 10, hollow body work. 3 minutes of hollow body holds. Perform 3 sets of 30 to 60-second holds. Rest 30 seconds between sets. Keep lower back pressed to floor. If you cannot maintain position, bend your knees or lower your arms to reduce difficulty. Minutes 11 to 13, side vacuum and oblique work. 3 minutes focusing on obliques. Perform side lying vacuums. Lie on your side and draw your belly button toward your spine while engaging obliques. 10 repetitions each side with 15-second holds. This trains the internal obliques that traditional exercises miss. Minutes 14 to 15. Integration and activation. 2 minutes of standing core activation practice. Stand tall. Engage your transverse abdominis at about 30% of maximum contraction. Maintain this engagement while walking slowly around the room. Practice holding this baseline activation. This trains the automatic engagement you want during daily life. That's 15 minutes, every day, no exceptions. Jack performed this routine every morning after his breathing practice. The two protocols together took 30 to 35 minutes. This was his foundation before any other exercise. If you're serious about transforming your core, commit to this 15-minute routine daily. Results come from consistency, not intensity. Daily practice for 3 months will change your midsection more than occasional intense workouts ever could. Why this builds what crunches cannot. Let me explain the biomechanics of why the vacuum works when crunches don't. Crunches train spinal flexion. You round your spine forward. Your rectus abdominis shortens. The muscle gets stronger at this movement. But spinal flexion doesn't require transverse abdominis engagement. You can crunch with a completely relaxed deep core. The vacuum trains abdominal compression. No spinal movement. Your spine stays neutral. The transverse abdominis contracts to pull the belly wall inward. This is a completely different function than spinal flexion. Think about what you actually want from core training. Do you want to be good at rounding your spine forward? Or do you want a tight, flat midsection that protects your back and looks impressive? Crunches train you to round forward. Vacuums train you to hold everything in. These are opposite functions. Furthermore, crunches can create problems. Repeated spinal flexion under load contributes to disc issues. The forward rounding reinforces poor posture. Many people develop neck problems from improper crunch technique. Vacuums have no such risks. Your spine stays neutral. No load on the discs, no postural compromise. Just pure transverse abdominis strengthening. Jack did very few traditional ab exercises. He rarely did crunches or sit-ups. He relied primarily on vacuums, hollow bodywork, and the natural core engagement from compound exercises like squats and overhead work. His results speak for themselves. A midsection that stayed tight and defined for 8 decades. A spine that never failed him. Posture that remained perfect into his 90s. Lower back protection through core activation. Your transverse abdominis is your body's natural weight belt. When engaged, it creates intra-abdominal pressure that stabilizes your spine from the inside. This is why powerlifters wear weight belts. The belt allows them to push their abs against something, creating more intra-abdominal pressure. But with a trained transverse abdominis, you carry your weight belt inside you. Always available, no equipment needed. Jack never had lower back problems, despite decades of heavy exercise. Despite performing feats that would injure most people, his spine was protected by his internal core. When you pick up something heavy, your transverse abdominis should automatically engage before your arms even start lifting. This braces your spine. This protects your discs. This is the natural function that most modern people have lost. Vacuum training restores this function. As your transverse abdominis gets stronger and more responsive, it begins engaging automatically during everyday activities. You bend to pick something up, and your core braces without conscious thought. This automatic protection is perhaps the most valuable benefit of vacuum training. More valuable than aesthetics. More valuable than athletic performance. A spine protected from injury allows you to stay active for life. Jack could perform incredible physical feats at 96 because he never injured his spine. His core protected him decade after decade. The mind-muscle connection secret. The hardest part of vacuum training isn't strength, it's connection. Most people cannot consciously engage their transverse abdominis because they've never felt it work. Jack spent time developing what he called internal awareness, the ability to feel and control muscles you cannot see. This is the mind-muscle connection, and it's especially important for core training. Here's how to develop it. Start with the supine vacuum, lying on your back. Place your fingers just inside your hip bones, pressing gently. Now, perform the vacuum. When your transverse abdominis engages, you'll feel it push against your fingers. It tenses like a trampoline surface. That feeling is your transverse abdominis. Learn to recognize it. Learn to create it on command. This is the connection you're building. Once you can feel it lying down, practice feeling it in other positions. Can you feel the same muscle engage while seated, while standing, while walking? The sensation should be the same. Jack could engage his transverse abdominis at any time, in any position, with any degree of intensity from slight to maximum. This control came from decades of practice, but the foundation was built in the first few months. Practice feeling your core throughout the day, while sitting at your desk, while standing in line, while walking. Ask yourself, is my transverse abdominis engaged? Can I feel it? Can I increase the engagement? Can I decrease it? This ongoing awareness practice accelerates progress dramatically. You're training the neural pathways, not just the muscle. Waist reduction without fat loss. Here's a remarkable effect of vacuum training. Your waist measurement decreases independent of fat loss. Most people think waist size is determined entirely by body fat. Lose fat, waist shrinks. Gain fat, waist expands. This is partially true but incomplete. Your waist measurement is also determined by the tone of your transverse abdominis. A weak transverse abdominis allows your organs and abdominal contents to push outward. Your belly protrudes. Your waist measures larger. A strong transverse abdominis holds everything inward. Your organs are compressed. Your waist measures smaller. The actual contents are the same, but the container is tighter. Many people begin vacuum training and lose 2 to 3 inches from their waist within months without losing any weight. The scale doesn't change, body fat percentage doesn't change, but their waist is dramatically smaller because their internal corset is finally doing its job. This is the effect doctors couldn't measure with Jack. They saw his small waist, they assumed diet and genetics. They didn't understand that he had trained his abdominal wall to hold inward with tremendous force. If you want a smaller waist, vacuum training may be more effective than dieting. Certainly, it's more effective than endless crunches. Train the muscle that actually determines waist circumference. Building a bulletproof midsection at any age. Jack began serious core training in his 20s, but he also trained people who started in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. The transverse abdominis responds to training at any age. The progressions might be slower for older individuals. The starting point might be more basic, but adaptation happens regardless of age. If you're older and feeling like your core has weakened over decades, understand that this is reversible. You didn't lose the muscles, you lost the activation, you lost the mind-muscle connection, you lost the strength. All of these can be rebuilt. Start with stage 1. Supine vacuums, build the connection, build the strength. Progress through the stages. Within 6 months, your core will be stronger than it's been in decades. Jack trained his core until his final days. He never stopped. He never considered himself too old. He never accepted decline as inevitable. And his results proved that age need not determine function. The internal oblique advantage. We focused on the transverse abdominis, but Jack also trained his internal obliques with similar methods. The internal obliques lie beneath the external obliques. Like the transverse abdominis, they're often neglected because they're not visible, but they contribute significantly to rotational stability and waist control. Side-lying vacuums train the internal obliques. Lie on your side. Perform the vacuum technique while focusing on drawing the waistline inward from that side. Hold for 15 to 20 seconds. Repeat 10 times each side. Rotational hollow body holds add another dimension. In hollow body position, rotate your torso slightly to one side. Hold. The obliques on that side work overtime. Alternate sides. Jack's complete core training addressed all the deep muscles, not just the transverse abdominis. His midsection was controlled and stable from every angle because he trained every angle. Your core transformation starts today. Here's your action plan. Today, right now, perform your first vacuum attempt. Follow the technique I described. Don't worry if it feels awkward or weak, just begin. This week, practice supine vacuums twice daily. 10 repetitions each session. Focus on feeling the transverse abdominis engage. Over the next 8 weeks, progress through the stages. Supine to quadruped to seated to standing. Don't rush, master each position before advancing. After 8 weeks, implement the complete 15-minute daily routine. Breathing warm-up, vacuum practice, hollow body work, side vacuums, integration. Within 3 months, you'll notice significant changes. Tighter midsection, better posture, stronger back, improved breathing, more body awareness. Within 6 months, you'll have core function you didn't know was possible, not just appearance, though that improves too. Function, stability, protection, control. This is what Jack built over 70 years. You don't have 70 years, but you have today. And today is when your core transformation begins. Jack LaLanne's core secret wasn't complicated. It wasn't a magic exercise. It was simple, consistent training of muscles most people ignore. The transverse abdominis, the internal core, the foundation that doctors couldn't measure but that determined everything. Now you know what they didn't know. Now you have the technique. Now you have the protocol. The only question is whether you'll practice it. I believe you will. I believe you're watching this video because you're serious about your health, serious about building real function, serious about aging with strength and vitality. If this video has revealed something valuable about core training, take a moment to like it and subscribe to this channel. We're building the definitive resource on Jack LaLanne's proven methods, and there's much more coming. Share this with someone who struggles with core weakness or back problems. This information could transform their life. The next video in this series covers Jack's obsession with isometric training. It connects directly to the core control we've discussed today. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Your core is your foundation. Build it properly. Build it daily. Build it like Jack did, and watch everything else improve as a result. The exercise doctors didn't know about is now yours. Use it well.